We want to discuss really all the week's developments with our next guest, a former Ukrainian Defense Minister, Andriy Zagorodnyuk, who joins us from Kyiv. And I want to start really by looking at the map of the battlefield. As you can see, they're overlaid with the four regions where we are seeing these referendums beginning that Nick was talking about. It's an area, just in terms of size, roughly the size of my country, of Portugal. And as you can see, some of it, at least in Donetsk and in Zaporizhia, it's still held in Ukraine. Mr. Zagorodnyuk, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk us through what has been happening. And it's been a busy week or so. Let's start where really our correspondent finished off there, and that's on this sham referenda we've been seeing in the four occupied regions in Ukraine. It's clear from what we've heard from our teams on the ground that people are being coerced. What are you hearing from Ukrainians on the ground?
We're hearing the same. We're hearing that they've been coerced. We're hearing that many people don't go, but Russians don't care. Essentially, this is not even a referendum. This is not even. This is basically they try to get some people in order to show this on TV. But there is a rumor that most of the ballots are already done, and essentially this is already sort of voted and it's all made up process which has nothing to do with reality, with law, with a proper order how you would do the referendum. So it's just an exercise to show this on Russian TV, and then Putin will proclaim that it's done, and he will not care what the West or Ukraine says about that. So,
but people not opening doors, people refusing to vote. Is that what you're saying?
Some people refuse to vote. Some people vote under duress. Some people just don't comment because they're scared. You know what they do in every city. They have these prisons. They bring people in. They torture them. They kill them. Every time when we gain back the land and when we gain back the settlements, we found the graves. We found them in many places already. So people are just scared. They're scared of everything. And so this is absolutely nothing to do with how you normally would do voting, you know, because voting assumes the democracy, and this is like a military dictatorship in the worst possible way right now.
But with this referenda, and we heard Nick talking about this just before we came to you, you know, that Russia can potentially, you know, claim this 15% as its own territory. Then, of course, treat Ukrainian attacks on these areas as attacks on Russia. Do you see Putin using this as a justification for an escalation here?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the whole idea. So Putin wants to scare the world. Well, I mean, we assume that this is his plan, because that's the only logical explanation of what's happening, is that he announces that Russia, then we attack. Of course, we will gain some territory back, because we've been doing this every day now. Every day we gain some territories back. This is ongoing counteroffensive, which is non-stop. And then he claims that this is we are invading part of Russia, so-called. And then he'll start to threaten the world with some escalations, possibly nuclear escalation. I don't think it's his interest to actually engage nuclear bombs, but he will certainly threaten. But also, he will attract a large part of the Russian society by reformatting that war from aggressive so-called special operation against the other country to a defensive war of defending Russia against the aggressor. So he will try to switch this war into defensive one.
And on that point, I mean, he said he will use, and I'm quoting him here, quoting Putin here, all the means at our disposal if he deemed the, quote, territorial integrity of Russia was to be jeopardized. He said he wasn't bluffing. What do you think?
Well, you normally don't say you're not bluffing, right? If you're not bluffing, you just you keep confident. So I mean, people have been wondering why he said he's not bluffing. So that was like subject to a lot of jokes already. Well, you know, to be honest, I mean, he's bluffing in some way for sure. But at the same time, he will certainly use that for the escalation, because the escalation is the only way for him to at least attempt to gain some kind of control, because he's losing initiative in this war. He lost control in this war, and now he's in a way desperate. But that's his problem, to be honest, because what we're doing, we are fighting our land back. We're fighting our country back. That's all. He shouldn't have started that war, to be honest. I mean, from the beginning.
Does this referendum change at all the movement, the counteroffensive by Ukraine, you think?
No, no. Why should it? No, of course
No,
not.
just...
And that referendum has nothing to do with common sense, with reality, and with our law. So this is our territory. These are our people. They wait for us to go back there. They wait for us to liberate them. So we will continue doing that. There's absolutely no way we're going to hesitate even for a second.
The reason I ask, because experts have noted that claiming this territory through, this sham referendum, as we've been talking about, would potentially perhaps allow Putin to deploy more troops to these regions. How do you think then that would translate in the battlefield?
Well, the conventional escalation, as we call it, meaning escalation with the standard military means, is already happening. So he's doing this anyway, and he's trying desperately to win this war, and he cannot. So what limits him is not some legal ground, but actually his scope of his capabilities, available capabilities. He simply cannot. He doesn't have enough weapon. He doesn't have enough people. Now he's bringing the mobilized personnel, but he needs still to train them, to put them in a collective training and so on. Which is not that easy, but he misses lots of components of what capability consists, and so simply the lack of capability, that's a real problem why he cannot win it or can't even progress, not some legal explanation of what he's doing.
Mr. Zagorodnyuk, I really appreciate you taking the time and talking us through everything that's really been unfolding in the last few weeks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.